Imagine waking up every morning knowing that no matter what happens, you have the power to create the life you truly want. Imagine feeling unstoppable, confident, and certain that nothing, absolutely nothing, can hold you back from achieving your dreams. The truth is, most people are living far below their potential. They settle for less because they've been taught to accept what comes their way, to follow the path of least resistance, and to play small in a world full of possibilities. But what if I told you that the difference between an ordinary life and an extraordinary life isn't luck, talent, or even opportunity? It's a decision to raise your standards. Raising your standards is not about being better than someone else. It's about being better than the person you were yesterday. It's about refusing to accept mediocrity, taking control of your future, and demanding more from yourself and your life. It's the invisible force that separates those who dream from those who achieve, those who hope from those who create, and those who wait from those who win. Today, I'm going to show you how to transform your thinking, elevate your expectations, and take the kind of action that guarantees results. By the end of this speech, you will understand not only what it takes to achieve anything you want, but also how to live a life so extraordinary that it inspires everyone around you. The strategies I'm about to share are not theories or wishful thinking. They are practical, actionable principles that anyone can implement starting today. Principles that will challenge you, push you, and stretch you beyond what you currently believe is possible. And once you embrace them, you won't just set higher goals. You'll become someone who naturally demands excellence in every area of life, and the world will have no choice but to respond to the new standard you've set. Clarity of vision and goals is the cornerstone of raising your standards and achieving anything you want in life. Too often, people drift through their days reacting to circumstances rather than intentionally designing their future. When you lack clarity about what you truly want, your standards remain low because there is no benchmark to measure your actions or decisions against. Imagine trying to navigate a city without a map. You might move, you might even get somewhere, but it will likely not be where you want to be. The same principle applies to life. Without a precise vision of your goals, you are likely to settle for mediocrity simply because you haven't defined what extraordinary looks like for you. Clarity requires specificity. Saying, "I want to be successful" is too vague to influence your behavior meaningfully. True clarity digs deeper. It asks questions like, what does success look like for me in every area of my life? And how will I know when I have truly achieved it? When you take the time to answer these questions, you begin to set invisible markers that guide your daily decisions, your habits, and your interactions. These markers become the standard by which you measure your efforts, your energy, and even the company you keep. Without this clarity, even the most motivated individuals can wander aimlessly, putting in effort that produces little real progress. Clarity of vision also creates focus. The human mind is powerful but easily distracted. When your goals are defined with precision, you naturally filter out what is irrelevant, unnecessary, or misaligned with your desired outcome. This focus transforms ordinary actions into powerful steps toward achieving your vision. Every choice you make, every action you take, becomes a deliberate move toward your defined goal rather than a random response to life's events. It is this clarity that allows people to operate at a higher level, refusing to settle for less because they know exactly what they are aiming for. Moreover, clarity ignites motivation. When you vividly see the life you want, it stirs emotion within you, a sense of urgency, excitement, and determination. This emotional fuel is crucial because setting higher standards requires energy, persistence, and resilience. Without a clear picture of your desired outcome, it's easy to lose momentum, justify compromises, and accept outcomes far below your true potential. Clarity of vision transforms vague desires into actionable, measurable targets. It becomes a personal standard, a non-negotiable benchmark that shapes every decision, every habit, and every interaction. Once you have that clarity, the journey to raising your standards and achieving extraordinary results becomes not just possible, but inevitable. Self-belief and a sense of worthiness are fundamental to raising your standards because the standards you set are a direct reflection of how much you believe you deserve. Many people unconsciously limit their lives not because opportunities are scarce, but because they don't see themselves as capable of achieving more. If you don't believe you deserve success, fulfillment, or abundance, you will unconsciously settle for less, accept mediocrity, and rationalize compromises that keep you within the bounds of what feels safe or possible. Belief in yourself acts as a lens through which you perceive what is achievable, and your perception defines the actions you are willing to take. Building self-belief begins with recognizing that your past does not dictate your future. Too often, individuals allow previous failures, criticism, or setbacks to define their self-worth, convincing themselves they are not capable of achieving greatness. The truth is that self-belief is cultivated by intentionally choosing to focus on your strengths, past wins, and potential. Every time you acknowledge your abilities and accomplishments, you reinforce the idea that you are worthy of more, which naturally elevates your internal standards. Worthiness is not about arrogance or entitlement. It is about understanding that your life has value and that your contributions matter. When you cultivate a strong sense of self-belief, it changes your behavior. You begin to demand better circumstances. Surround yourself with people who reflect higher values and refuse to accept situations that fall short of your expectations. You start taking risks that others shy away from because you trust your ability to handle challenges and create solutions. Self-belief fuels courage, persistence, and resilience, allowing you to push beyond fear and discomfort to achieve outcomes that previously seemed unattainable. Worthiness also affects the energy you project into the world. When you carry a sense of value and confidence, it signals to others that you operate at a higher standard, attracting opportunities, support, and relationships that align with that energy. Conversely, self-doubt and insecurity create limits, subconsciously signaling that you are willing to accept less. The internal narrative you cultivate about your worth acts like a compass, guiding your choices, behaviors, and ultimately the results you manifest. Strengthening self-belief and a sense of worthiness requires consistent practice, reflection, and reinforcement. It is about consciously rewriting the story you tell yourself, embracing your potential, and recognizing that raising your standards begins from within. The clearer you are about your value, and the more you trust your ability to create the life you desire, the higher the standards you will naturally set, and the closer you move toward achieving anything you want. Taking full responsibility for your life is one of the most powerful steps in raising your standards because it shifts you from a position of powerlessness to one of control and influence. Many people spend their lives blaming circumstances, other people, or bad luck for their results, convincing themselves that external forces determine their success or failure. When you operate from this mindset, your standards remain low because you are not fully accountable for the outcomes in your life. Responsibility means acknowledging that every choice, every action, and every reaction contributes to your current reality. And once you accept that truth, you gain the ability to change it. Embracing responsibility requires honesty and self-reflection. It means looking at your life without excuses and identifying where you may have allowed mediocrity or fear to dictate your decisions. It is not about self-blame or guilt. It is about empowerment. When you stop pointing fingers, you reclaim the power to shape your life according to the standards you want to uphold. High achievers consistently understand that while they cannot control every external event, they can control their response to it. And it is this response that ultimately determines their results. Responsibility transforms setbacks into lessons and obstacles into opportunities to grow and improve. Taking responsibility also forces you to raise your expectations of yourself. If you acknowledge that you are the architect of your life, it becomes unacceptable to settle for less than what you know you can achieve. It pushes you to take ownership of your habits, your time, your relationships, and your mindset, ensuring that every aspect of your life aligns with the standards you aspire to maintain. The moment you fully embrace this mindset, you stop waiting for permission, approval, or external validation, and you start creating results that reflect your highest potential. Responsibility cultivates resilience because it removes the victim mentality that keeps people stagnant. When challenges arise, those who take full responsibility see them as opportunities to demonstrate creativity, problem solving, and persistence, rather than as insurmountable barriers. It also fosters accountability, which reinforces your personal standards over time. You begin to recognize that consistent effort, disciplined choices, and proactive behavior are not optional but necessary components of the life you desire. Ultimately, taking responsibility aligns your actions with your goals and ensures that your standards are non-negotiable. It creates a mindset where excuses lose power, where growth is inevitable, and where you consistently move closer to the outcomes you want because you understand that nothing external defines your destiny except your willingness to own it fully. Commitment to excellence is a vital principle when it comes to raising your standards because it sets the tone for how you approach every aspect of your life. Excellence is not about perfection. It is about consistently giving your best effort, refusing to settle for mediocrity, and holding yourself to a higher benchmark in everything you do. People with low standards often aim to do enough to get by, to satisfy minimal expectations, or to avoid criticism. Those who commit to excellence, however, understand that extraordinary results are a direct reflection of the effort, discipline, and intentionality they put into their actions. By committing to excellence, you create a standard that becomes non-negotiable, shaping your habits, decisions, and interactions in ways that align with your highest goals. A commitment to excellence requires a mindset shift because it challenges the tendency to take shortcuts, procrastinate, or accept less than what you are capable of delivering. It demands that you approach each task, no matter how small, with integrity, focus, and precision. When excellence becomes a standard, you naturally reject behaviors, situations, and relationships that do not support growth or improvement. This creates a powerful ripple effect in your life because your consistent high standards influence how others perceive and respond to you, often elevating the quality of opportunities and people that enter your world. Excellence is also about continuous improvement. It is not a static achievement, but a dynamic process of learning, eating and pushing beyond your comfort zone. Individuals committed to excellence embrace challenges as opportunities to enhance their skills, knowledge, and resilience. They measure progress against their personal benchmarks rather than external comparisons, ensuring that every day becomes a step toward a higher level of performance. This dedication requires patience, discipline, and a willingness to confront discomfort because growth rarely occurs without effort or persistence. Furthermore, committing to excellence builds confidence and self-respect because it aligns your actions with your values and potential. When you know you are giving your best consistently, you develop an internal authority and a sense of pride that naturally elevates your standards in all areas of life. It also creates momentum as consistent excellence compounds over time, producing results that reinforce your belief in what is possible. By choosing excellence as a standard, you transform the ordinary into extraordinary, cultivating habits, decisions, and behaviors that are aligned with the highest version of yourself. It becomes a guiding principle that influences not just what you achieve, but who you become in the process. Breaking limiting beliefs is a critical step in raising your standards because the boundaries of what you believe is possible directly determine the results you allow yourself to achieve. Limiting beliefs are deeply held convictions, often formed in childhood or through past experiences, that tell you what you can or cannot do, what you deserve, or what is realistic. They act like invisible barriers, silently shaping your decisions, actions, and even your aspirations. People with low standards often operate within the confines of these beliefs, settling for outcomes that are far below their true potential because their mind has convinced them that this is all I can have or this is all I am capable of. To raise your standards, you must first identify, confront, and dismantle these internal limitations. The first step in breaking limiting beliefs is awareness. Many beliefs operate subconsciously, influencing behavior without conscious recognition. To challenge them, you must ask yourself probing questions such as, is this belief absolutely true? Or who or what told me I couldn't achieve this? By examining the origin and validity of your beliefs, you can begin to distinguish between perceptions rooted in fear, habit, or external influence and those grounded in truth. Once you recognize a limiting belief, it loses some of its power because awareness creates choice. You no longer have to unconsciously accept it as fact. Next, breaking limiting beliefs requires replacement with empowering alternatives. A belief cannot simply be removed without filling the void it leaves. It must be replaced with a perspective that supports higher standards and bolder action. For example, replacing I am not capable of success with I have the ability to learn, grow, and achieve anything I commit to shifts your mindset from limitation to possibility. Repetition, affirmation, visualization, and intentional action are tools that reinforce new beliefs, gradually rewiring your thought patterns to align with higher standards. Limiting beliefs are often reinforced by fear of failure, judgment, or rejection, so confronting them requires courage and consistent practice. Each time you challenge an old belief by taking action outside of your comfort zone, you prove to yourself that your capabilities exceed the limitations you once accepted. This process of self-validation strengthens confidence, expands possibilities, and naturally elevates the expectations you set for yourself. By breaking limiting beliefs, you remove the mental barriers that hold you back and create a mindset capable of supporting higher standards. It allows you to act boldly, pursue greater goals, and embrace challenges with the certainty that your potential is not defined by the stories you once believed. Consistent action and growth are essential components of raising your standards because knowing what you want and believing in your worth are meaningless without persistent effort to turn vision into reality. Many people have big dreams but fail to achieve them because they underestimate the power of consistent, disciplined action. High standards are not maintained by occasional bursts of effort or fleeting motivation. They are reinforced through repeated intentional actions that align with your goals. Consistency transforms intention into habit, and habit creates momentum, which ultimately produces results far beyond what intermittent effort could achieve. Growth occurs naturally as a byproduct of this process because each step taken, no matter how small, provides learning, feedback, and the opportunity to refine strategies. Taking consistent action requires commitment and self-discipline. It means showing up even when motivation wanes, when circumstances are challenging, or when progress seems slow. People with low standards often wait for the perfect moment or the ideal conditions to act. But the truth is that excellence is cultivated in imperfect, often uncomfortable situations. By committing to regular, purposeful effort, you gradually raise the benchmark of what you consider acceptable, reinforcing higher standards over time. This process also strengthens resilience because each challenge faced becomes evidence of your capacity to persist and succeed, reinforcing the belief that you can achieve what you desire. Growth is inseparable from consistent action because each step forward provides lessons that refine your skills, expand your perspective, and increase your capabilities. Stagnation occurs when effort is inconsistent, leaving potential untapped and goals unfulfilled. To truly raise your standards, you must embrace growth as a lifelong practice, actively seeking opportunities to learn, adapt, and improve. This mindset shifts focus from short-term results to long-term mastery, emphasizing progress over perfection and persistence over immediate success. Consistency also cultivates credibility and influence, as your sustained effort signals reliability and dedication to others. This often attracts opportunities, partnerships, and resources that support higher-level achievements. Importantly, the combination of consistent action and growth ensures that your high standards are not theoretical ideals, but tangible realities. Each deliberate step compounds, creating a trajectory of progress that continually elevates your results, capabilities, and confidence. By committing to consistent action and prioritizing continuous growth, you create a self-reinforcing cycle where effort produces results, results fuel confidence, and confidence drives further effort. This cycle empowers you to not only achieve your goals, but to expand the very limits of what you believe is possible, ensuring that your standards rise in tandem with your evolving potential. As we come to the end of this journey together, remember this: the life you want, the success you dream of, and the impact you long to make are all waiting on the other side of the standards you are willing to set for yourself. Raising your standards is not a one-time event. It is a commitment, a mindset, and a lifestyle. It is about taking responsibility for your choices, believing in your worth, pursuing excellence relentlessly, breaking through limiting beliefs, and taking consistent action that drives growth every single day. The moment you decide that you will no longer accept less than you deserve, everything changes. Opportunities appear, doors open, and the world begins to respond to the energy you bring. You have the tools, the knowledge, and the mindset to create extraordinary results. The next step is yours. Take it with courage, take it with determination, and take it knowing that every action you take aligned with your highest standards moves you closer to the life you've always wanted. Good luck on your journey. I hope you embrace your power, raise your standards, and live a life that inspires not just yourself, but everyone around you. Thank you for your time, your energy, and your commitment to becoming the best version of yourself today.